At his own coronation banquet, the new emperor leaned toward a French official and told him the meat on his plate was human. Nobody ever proved he meant it, and a court was later forbidden from ruling on it. The emperor had just crowned himself. On a 2-ton throne of gold-covered bronze, shaped like a giant eagle. He wore a diamond crown made in Paris. 40,000 bottles of wine had been flown in for the party. His country was one of the poorest on earth. This is Jean-Bédel Bokassa, Emperor of Central Africa. He was convicted of murder. He may or may not have eaten people. And the argument about him still won't settle. Was he a monster of his own making, or a monster that France built, paid for, and threw away? Start with the country, because almost nobody could find it on a map. Central Africa, on the equator, thick forest, a wide brown river, a capital called Bangui. The ground holds uranium, diamonds, and gold. The people held almost nothing. Most lived on about $1 a day. Now the man. Bokassa didn't come from nowhere. In a way, he came from France. France came for his family first. His father was a village chief. When the French forced the village into labor, the chief freed some of his people. So the company had him beaten to death in the town square. A week later, Bokassa's mother killed herself. He was 6 years old. Then the same empire that orphaned him raised him. Bokassa spent 23 years in the French army. He fought in the Second World War and in Indochina. France decorated him, made him a captain. In 1960, his country won independence, and his cousin became its first president. The new president needed an army built, so he gave the job to his soldier cousin. It was a mistake. He'd once called Bokassa too stupid to pull off a coup. On New Year's Eve 1965, Bokassa pulled off a coup. For 10 years, Bokassa ran the country. President, then president for life. Then even that wasn't enough. Bokassa had one true idol, Napoleon. He'd studied the French emperor for years. In 1976, he decided he wouldn't run a republic. He'd build an empire and crown himself. There was a detour first. Bokassa met Colonel Gaddafi of Libya, who had oil money to hand out. So Bokassa converted to Islam, took a new name, and waited for the cash. It never came. So he converted back to Catholicism just in time to declare a Catholic empire. The coronation copied Napoleon's, almost detail for detail. Bokassa was dressed by the same Paris house that had once embroidered Napoleon's own uniforms. A crimson velvet robe, 9 meters long, trimmed in ermine and sewn with golden eagles. He'd wanted the Pope to crown him. The Pope refused to come, so Bokassa crowned himself. The throne was that 2-ton eagle of gold-covered bronze. The crown was thick with diamonds, made by a famous Paris jeweler. The whole show cost around $20 million. But Bokassa didn't pay for it. France did. That money was about everything France gave the country in aid that whole year. Help meant for a starving nation, spent to crown its emperor. And France paid it willingly. In return, Bokassa promised to drop Gaddafi, and France kept the mines. The country's uranium fed France's nuclear program. Bokassa said it plainly. Everything here was financed by the French government. We ask the French for money, get it, and waste it. Then the day came, and almost no one did. Bokassa had invited 2,500 guests from abroad. About 600 showed up. Not a single foreign head of state came. The only royalty to show up was a prince from Liechtenstein. His friend, the French president, sent a Napoleonic sword and stayed home. So the emperor sat on his golden eagle in a half-empty stadium. Later, he had an explanation. They were jealous, he said, because he had an empire, and they didn't. That friend was the president of France, Valéry Giscard d'Estaing. Giscard hunted elephants on a private reserve in Bokassa's forests. He signed the guest book to my relative and my friend. Bokassa gave him diamonds. When that came out, years later, it helped end Giscard's career. For a while, France could live with all of it. What it couldn't live with was an embarrassment. By 1979, the country was breaking. Food prices climbed, people protested. The protests were crushed. Then came the order about the school uniforms. Every student had to wear a uniform printed with Bokassa's own face. They cost a small fortune, sold by a single company, a company owned by one of his wives. Families on $1 a day couldn't pay, so the students protested and threw rocks at the emperor's car. What came next is why a court would later call him a murderer. In April 1979, soldiers rounded up schoolchildren. Somewhere between 59 and around 100 of them never came home. 59 is the number the trial convicted him over. Around 100 is the count from Amnesty International. Bokassa was accused of being there himself. He denied it to the end. This time, the world looked. A panel of African judges found that Bokassa had almost certainly taken part, and France decided its emperor had become a liability. So France set out to remove him, not to prison, out of power. In September 1979, while Bokassa was visiting Libya, French planes landed in Bangui and put his old cousin back in charge. The soldiers surrendered without firing a shot. A French diplomat called it the last colonial expedition. The emperor France had built and paid for and crowned, France removed in a single night. Then France gave him asylum. He'd served in its army after all. Bokassa could have stayed gone. He had a chateau outside Paris and a death sentence waiting back home. Then, in 1986, Bokassa flew back anyway. They arrested him on the runway. At the trial, Bokassa was convicted of murder and embezzlement. The stolen millions, the murdered children. But the charge the whole world wanted, the cannibalism, the court was never allowed to touch. Under an old amnesty, it counted as a minor offense, already wiped from the books. So it was set aside, never proven, never disproven. "I am not a cannibal," Bokassa told the court. He was sentenced to death, then spared, then freed. He spent his last years calling himself the 13th Apostle of Christ. 17 wives, dozens of children. In 1996, he died, just another old man in Bangui. That should be the end of it. It isn't. In 2010, his own country officially forgave him. The president called Bokassa a son of the nation, a great builder. The man who starved a country to crown himself was, suddenly, a hero again. Look at what's left. The murders are settled, but the cannibalism, the thing the whole world remembers him for, is the one thing a court was forbidden to decide. Never proven, never closed. The larger question won't sit still either. France orphaned him, then raised him, armed him, then crowned him. France hunted in his forests, then removed him the moment he turned into an embarrassment. When we called the Bokassa a monster, do the men who made him get to walk away clean? The empire is gone. The great eagle throne was stripped of its gold and jewels long ago, and the country he bankrupted still can't decide whether he was its shame or its son.